Penguin Random House Audio presents The Iron Marshal by Louis L'Amour. Read for you by Erik Singer. Chapter 1. A brutal kick in the ribs jolted him from a sound sleep, and he lunged to his feet. The kicker, obviously a railroad detective, stepped back and drew a gun. "Don't try it," he advised. "Just get off." "No? Are you crazy? At this speed I'd get killed." "Tough. You either jump off or you get shot off." Shanaghy looked at the gun. What's the use? For 2 bits I'd take that away from you and make you eat it, but I'll take the jump. He turned and swung over the edge of the open gondola, hung for an instant to gauge the speed, then dropped from the ladder. He hit the ground knees bent and rolled head over heels down the embankment, coming to his feet in a cloud of dust to hear a fading shout. "And take your dirty duds with you!" A bundle came flying from the train and hit the ground several hundred yards farther along. Then the train was past, and he watched the caboose disappearing down the singing rails. Shanaghy spat dust and swore at the disappearing train. Me lad," he said bitterly. "There will come a time." He dug sand from his eyes and ears, muttering the while, and then he looked slowly around. He stood on the bank beside the tracks in the midst of a vast and empty plain, nothing but grass rippling in the wind. It reminded him of the sea when he crossed from Ireland. He was thirsty, he was hungry, and he was mad all the way through. Moreover, he was bruised from the fall, adding to the bruises from what had gone before. He stared around again. At least they would never find him here. He started to walk. Suddenly he thought of the bundle thrown from the train. Dirty duds? He had no clothing but what he wore, and no possessions but the few things in his pocket. All else had been abandoned when he fled. He had been on the dodge, unable to meet his friends for 2 days before he grabbed the freight train in the yards. He had not seen his enemies, but he heard them coming. He was unarmed, and the freight offered his only chance. He took the fast-moving train on the fly, and once aboard he had fallen asleep. With daylight he awakened, but dead tired he dropped off to sleep again while the train rumbled on its way. For most of 2 days and nights they had traveled, so now, where was he? He walked on until he came to the bundle. He paused, looking down at it as it lay among the weeds and brush near the foot of the slight embankment. A canvas haversack and a blanket roll. He had never owned anything of the kind. Shanaghy slid down the embankment and picked it up, heavier than he expected. For a moment he considered leaving it, but the blankets decided him. In a few hours darkness would be upon him, and unless he was mistaken, the nearest town was far, far away. Despite what the railroad bull had shouted, the blankets looked remarkably new and clean. Kneeling on the track, he opened the haversack. The first thing he found was a slab of bacon wrapped in cheesecloth, then a small packet of coffee. Some Bindlestiff's outfit, he told himself, then changed his mind. There was a packet of letters, a notebook with some loose papers tucked into it, and a map. In the compartment behind the letters was a carefully folded suit of black broadcloth, 2 clean shirts, a shirt collar, cufflinks, and a collar button. There was a suit of underwear just off the shelf, a razor, soap, a shaving brush, comb, pair of scissors, and some face lotion. What was more important, there was a .44 pistol and a box of ammunition. He checked the pistol. It was loaded. Strapping up the bag, he slung the outfit over his shoulder and started on. The hour was early, just after daylight. He plodded on, traveling, he presumed, at a rate of about 2.5 miles an hour. He walked beside the track to avoid the nuisance of trying to walk the irregularly spaced ties. He saw many rabbits, a snake, and several buzzards. There was nothing else. Not a tree, not an animal, not even a large rock. Not until the middle of the afternoon, when he had walked nearly 20 miles, did the country begin to change. Twice the railroad crossed ravines on trestles. and finally he came to a shallow wash that seemed to rapidly narrow until it turned a bluff. He went down the embankment and followed the wash around the bluff to where it opened into a tiny basin, where there were a few willows, a cottonwood or two. On a flat place under the trees there was grass, a circle of stones for a fireplace already blackened by use, and much broken wood. After gathering sticks and bark, he got a fire started. Then he cut slices from the slab of bacon and broiled them on a stick over the fire. He cooked and ate as he cooked, looking around. It was a snug, comfortable place. For the moment he had food, the water was good to drink, and he could rest and relax. He had no idea where he was, except that he was west of New York. He had never seen a map of the United States, and since arriving from Ireland when he was 11, he had never been farther west than Philadelphia. He knew New York, and he had spent at least 2 weeks in Boston. They would never find him here, but they'd be looking. Well, so let them look. Nobody had ever said Tom Shanaghy was a nice man. From boyhood, he had been a tough, iron-fisted bruiser, starting at 6 when he had helped his father in their blacksmith shop, shoeing horses, mending carts, sharpening plow blades, or whatever needed it. His father, accepting a cash payment for joining up, had become a farrier, a horseshoer, for the army and had gone out to British India. According to reports, he was killed there. Tom and his mother had emigrated to America, but she died on the way over, and Tom Shanaghy landed in New York alone, without friends and without money. He had walked off the boat into trouble. A boy about his own age, standing with a group of boys, called him a dirty Mick, and Shanaghy replied the only way he knew. He went in swinging. His first swing dropped the boy who had yelled at him. His second swing dropped a companion, and then they were all over him. He was alone, and there were 7 or 8 of them. He slugged, kicked, bit, and gouged, fighting with all he had because he was alone. Then suddenly another boy was beside him, a boy he had seen on the ship but had not known. They were getting the worst of it when he heard a harsh voice. "Stop it, damn you! Let the lads up!" The boys who had started the fight scrambled to their feet, took one look, and fled. He was a big, burly man, almost 6 feet, but strongly made. He wore a handlebar mustache, and his nose had been broken. His knuckles were scarred with old cuts. He took the cigar from his teeth. "What's your name, boy?" "Shanaghy, sir. Tom Shanaghy." "Well, you're a fighter. A good fighter. You can take him as well as hand him out." The man turned sharply and looked at the other boy. "And who are you, my lad?" "Pendleton, sir. Richard Pendleton." "Aye. Well, you've a way with your fists, too. And you're a friend of Shanaghy's?" "Not exactly, sir. We came over on the same vessel, but did not meet until now. He was in a bad fight, sir, and it seemed only fair that I should have a part of it. I do not like seeing such an unequal fight." "All right, unless it's on my side they are. You're a strong lad, but you two be off with you now. It's not a good place for you." Shanaghy wiped the blood from a cut over his eye. "Sir, it's an important man you are, as anybody with half an eye can see. Have you no friends that might need a strong lad? It's alone I am, for my good mother died on shipboard." The big man took the cigar from his teeth, his eyes glinting with a cynical humour. "Huh? A smart lad, and not above a bit of the blarney." From a pocket he took a slip of paper, and on it wrote a few words. "Here's a street, and the number. You'll be asking for a man named of Clancy. Tell him Morrissey sent you." "And my friend as well." Morrissey started to speak, but Richard Pendleton interrupted. "No, thank you. No need to speak for me. I've a place to go, and people who will be meeting me. Thank you." Morrissey walked away, and the 2 boys looked at each other. Shanaghy was strongly built, with black hair and blue eyes, a sprinkling of freckles over his nose. Pendleton was wiry and had light brown hair, somewhat the taller. "Thanks," Shanaghy said. "You're a fine fighter, and you saved me a beating." "It was Mr. Morrissey saved us both. Did you notice? They are afraid of him. He had only to speak and they ran. He's a big man.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?